can see us.
Today, Sarit's the ones with the jokes.
Oh man, how's everybody doing this morning? Good morning, Christy. Hope you guys got your coffee. Today we're going to be talking about nutrition. And, it's a very simple rule that goes a very long way. I feel like nowadays, when it comes to nutrition, we tend to get distracted by noise because there's just so many theories. What's better? Keto, paleo, intermittent fasting, blah, blah. So now keep in mind that all these, diet trends, as you may call it, are a form of a lifestyle. But it still doesn't give you, just by saying that you're doing paleo, it doesn't give you a full nutritional breakdown. Or just by saying that you're doing keto, it doesn't give you a full nutritional breakdown, though it is related to that somewhat. Regardless of whatever type of nutrition plan you like to follow or trend you like to follow, one rule that you should always try to abide to is the 85-15 rule. Okay, so 85-15 means that basically,
some of you know it as 80-20. We like 85-15.
85-15 in the sense that, 85% of the time eat, a clean diet that involves food that will help to get you closer to your health and longevity goals, and aesthetics goals as well. And then 15%, basically just eat for your soul. So I want you to think about it this way. What does 85-15 mean to you? So for example, if you eat 4 times a day and there is 7 days a week, that's a total of 28 meals per week. So 15% of that would be probably about four things that you can have that are basically off limits for the most part. And when you think about it, this is really not a big deal. But I feel like because we don't have a specific structure to follow by whenever we see a cupcake by the office sometimes, or when something around us looks good, we can cave into it. But the reality is that you have to follow a specific guideline in order to get to your goal. And then I want you to take a second and think to yourself, okay, if I was to rate my diet on a scale of 1 to 10, where would I put myself right now? And 10 would be perfect 100% of the time, all the time, which is very unrealistic for anybody unless you're doing like some kind of fitness show and you're like 4 weeks out. Then you have to, but otherwise it is not sustainable whatsoever. Or 0 would be like, 1 would be like, I eat junk food most of the time. 5 would be like here and there I sort of try. 7 would just mean average, that you opt for healthy, but you're not consistent with it. You don't have a specific guideline. 85-15 is what we found to be really the perfect number where, you're able to maintain a lifestyle where you can splurge here and there, but also really strive forward with getting to your goals. So, yeah.
Okay. So there's 2 types of people in this world. One of them is going to be the person who's really hard on themselves and scores themselves really low because of minute little details, like I had an Oreo cookie, so I'm a 1. Don't be that person. And then there's the opposite end of that spectrum where it's the person who comes to us and says, though they weigh 300 pounds, that I eat really healthy. Now, there are some medical conditions, yes, that you can still eat healthy and you'd be in an overweight position. However, it is extremely rare and most likely you're not one of them. And so if you are in a place that you're uncomfortable with, be honest with yourself and really take a deep look into, do I actually know what healthy is, or do I actually know what am I being too hard on myself, and because I ate a donut one time this month and that's the only thing I did, now I'm terrible at my nutrition.
You're leading us into a great transition. Okay, so take a second and just think to yourself, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, if I was to rate my nutrition, where would it be? Now, the next thing, in order to consider what is healthy food to begin with. Now, I feel like there is a lot of skewed misconceptions with regards for healthy food because nowadays, if we see, let's say, gluten-free bread, then all of a sudden it's very easy to think that it's healthier. And again, it is not anybody's fault. It's just there is very tricky marketing techniques in the food industry nowadays that are basically the goal is to get you to buy food by thinking that it's good for you when in fact it's not.
Can I also say something on that too?
Yeah, go for it.
It's become a lot of marketing, and because some people have seen good results on different styles of eating, it gets this stigma that it's healthy. So if somebody makes a paleo cookie, that doesn't necessarily mean that that cookie is good for you or what you need.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
caution
exactly.
when you see keto or paleo or gluten-free or whatever.
Yeah, so for example, if you're like if you put yourself under the spectrum of what Erin said by I eat healthy, but I'm not where I want to be at, then there might be some sort of misunderstanding as to what a healthy food really is. So remember, the healthiest food will be whole foods, and whole foods will be foods that came literally straight from the source, and that is, if it's any sort of like animal derived protein, then it's something that basically just moved or used to make a sound before,
I love it
like
when you say that.
salmon,
I love it when you say used to make a sound.
salmon or cow, chicken, whatever, or if it's plant form, it either like grew on the ground or on a tree. So I want you to think about that being the source, okay? And then anything separated from that is one source of separation away from basically eating the cleanest food possible. Because remember, the more processed the food is, the less clean it is. I don't care how many calories it has. I don't care what claims it has. Okay?
And the more it's been processed externally, the harder it is to process internally.
Yes, for sure. If it was made in the lab, it takes a lot to break it down. So the easiest guideline for you to know that you're eating a food that's clean and that's good for you is basically to look at the ingredient list. The best foods in the world do not have an ingredient list. Salmon is salmon. Lettuce is lettuce. But meanwhile, there's a difference between buying fresh lettuce from the store versus buying a Caesar salad mix at the store. Then we have a lot more ingredients in it, okay? And that's how, just a simple way of how we can take a healthy whole food and process it to some degree, okay? And
but then say it's healthy.
And then say it's healthy because it's a salad, right? Like there's so many ways in which food is processed nowadays. I mean, it increases shelf lifespan, and it makes your food taste better. 30 years ago, we also thought that claims of fat-free will actually make you get closer to your goals and make you be healthier. But the reality is that any food that says fat-free means that
it has more sugar.
It compensates for it by having more sugar, and vice versa.
Sugar-free, it has more fat.
Sugar-free has more fat.
Or more processing.
Yeah.
Like licorice is fat-free.
Right.
But we all know.
Twizzlers are too, and they say a fat-free food. So you guys really pay attention for the number of ingredients that are listed in on the food labels. Really, foods that do not have any ingredient list means that they are better for you. Okay, so pay attention to that. So, how do you know if a food is healthy? Just covered that.
Christy asked a question in regards to that, though.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
Christy asked, what if the salmon is farm raised versus wild caught? Is there a difference in quality?
Yeah, so I mean, wild caught when it comes to fish or seafood would be best because that means that the environment it was raised in is better. Farm raised means that it was basically raised in a farm and it was given, food that was probably not natural food, most likely corn or that sort of thing. And basically, the salmon that we eat is basically the food that the salmon ate. So, if you think about the food chain, it makes a huge difference. But, to start with, that is a beautiful question for somebody who's more advanced. But what I would tell people for the most part is just eat more salmon.
Yeah.
Once you eat salmon consistently, then let's take it to the next level and we'll talk about, okay, what is the best source of salmon? And that will be wild caught. So for your seafood, wild caught. For your beef, grass fed. For your poultry, anything free range, eggs as well. These things matter, but these things don't matter as much as your consistency, just eating the whole foods in general. That is a beautiful question. So,
if you're eating processed foods right now, focus first on eating whole foods. Don't worry about where it came from or whatever. But if you have been eating whole foods and you feel like you're still not making progress, that's when you would consider taking that next step further.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about progression.
For sure. So, okay, we talked about two important things so far. Number one is rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How clean is your diet overall? 1 being awful, 10 being excellent 100% of the time, all the time. Then we talked about how would you consider a food to be healthy, okay? Basically the guidelines for that. Next up, if you're like, man, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm eating really healthy food, but I'm not to where I want to be at. So the other thing that you need to challenge yourself and take into account is basically the amount of food that kind of like I like to call it goes into a black hole every day. And that is food that we don't really account ourselves for because we probably eat it during conversation, while we're prepping other food, as we are helping our kids finish their dinner. These I find, especially with moms, to be one of really the most powerful aha moments once they start tracking those black holes. So if you're like, okay, like I would rate myself like at least an 8 or a 9, but I feel like I've got so much to lose, then I want to challenge you and I want you to think about what are those gaps that you have during the day where you eat food that's actually not that clean. And even though it might not be a lot, little over time totally adds up.
A fig Newton here, a bite of peanut butter jelly there.
Yeah, it's little, but it adds up. Okay? And it's all about hormonal balance anyways.
Jeanette said that she's not a fan of salmon. You don't have to eat salmon. We can give you ways to prepare or season it that helps with the taste, but we're just talking like seafood in general.
Yeah, Jeanette, it could be any fish, and it does not even have to be fish. If you're not a fish person, that's totally fine. I was just giving an example of basically an animal that used to move or make a sound. And I chose the one that moves and doesn't make a sound. It could be the moo kind too. Okay, so don't feel obligated. But if you want to learn ways to like it better, I would just say explore different recipes. And if you don't like it, then hey, like don't force yourself to like something that you don't like. There's plenty of other protein sources that are beautiful that are not salmon, so it does not have to be salmon. Um, Amazing. Okay, well,
I have a new cup.
show them your new cup.
I have a new cup.
Ooh, there we have it, guys. So the 85-15 nutrition rule. Abide to that in order to really help yourself stay lean and healthy. And remember this, really. Every meal that you eat or anything that you put to your mouth either gets you one step closer to your goal, or this is going to sound harsh, one step closer to your grave. Because nutrition really is everything. The reason why, you know, um, this country is so overweight and sick is due to a poor diet. Yes, being sedentary is one way, but even if you're sedentary and you eat a very clean diet, you're still light years ahead than somebody who even works every day and eats a shitty diet. I mean, nutrition really is everything. As I like to call it, movement is food and food is medicine. So I want you to think as your food really as fuel and as a vessel to living an incredible life. And every meal that you eat will either get you one closer to your dream body, dream life, or one step away from it. And I think that once you start thinking about it this way, it really helps to motivate you on what's important in life. Is having, something sweet right now because you have a craving more important than being here 20 years from now? Now, of course, that is a very drastic way of thinking, and you don't have to think that way. But once you have an awareness that there's a consequence to literally anything that you do, then you start acting a lot differently. Because if you don't think that there is consequence to little acts, like Erin said, like having a bite of a fig Newton here and there, then I'm going to challenge you, because over time that will add up. And I'm not saying that having a bite of fig Newton is bad, but it all depends on
the consistency. Like,
yeah,
how often do you do it?
yeah,
You know, I like to enjoy things that aren't the best for me sometimes, but that's the 85-15, right? Like, life is also to be lived, and we have access to some things that make us really happy, and for everybody that's very different. And so we should indulge every once in a while. So don't feel like you have to be 100% perfect, grass-fed, wild-caught, never eat processed sugar, anything. It's just a matter of what is your balance? What are your habits? What are you doing to make yourself be the healthiest possible while still enjoying the things that you love to enjoy?
yeah, for sure.
And think of food as, when Sarit says think of food as fuel, imagine if you went to the gas station and they have like, unlimited and premium and whatever. And then they have another one that's like the McDonald's version where it's like insanely cheap. It's like $1 a gallon, but it's like garbage, like literally garbage. And you're just like stuffing garbage into your gas tank. You're not going to get very far on that, right? So
Same goes with your body. Our bodies are the most intricate machine. And, if any of you guys are like, man, 85-15 is very aggressive for me, that's totally fine. Start by raising the bar by maybe eating one cleaner meal per week. Do that for 2 weeks straight, and then level yourself up even more, okay? If you're right now at 50-50, then 85-15 is completely unrealistic. Okay, so find a realistic goal and stick to it. To be fully honest with you, like my own diet is way higher than 85-15. I'm probably around 95-5. But again, I know that I'm an extreme case, but as a person who strives for greatness, as a high performer, you have to take into account that literally, and there's a consequence to anything that you do, and there's a consequence to any food that you eat. So you might as well do your best, okay, and stick to the 85-15 guideline. And once you do that, you're going to notice that you'll feel pain-free. You'll lose weight very quickly. You'll feel a lot more confident. Your brain will be a lot clearer. You will function better, and you'll be a happier person. And I think everyone around you will be happier too.
It's also important to note that you progressed to a 95.5, and that's what makes you happiest.
Yes.
Because nobody starts there, and even I would say a couple years ago you weren't there. Like you've progressed up to that, you know. And so don't think, I'm missing the mark because I'm not 95% clean. Just do your best, do a little bit better.
This is a journey. It really is a journey. Like when I started, I was probably at 30% clean, 60% not. So, I mean,
same. Taco Bell 3 times a week.
Yeah.
But life's a journey. Just keep progressing. If you try to go too far too fast, you will fail and you'll be discouraged, which has happened to most people already. Probably you as well. So start with where you are. Figure out what the next step forward is. If you don't know what the next step forward is, just reach out to us. We'll help you find the next step forward and we'll guide you there. And if you like this video and if you learn things from this video today, please share it, because this message deserves to be given to as many people as possible. Hundreds, thousands, millions. We know we can, but we need your help. So please, if you love these, if you learn from these, if you're inspired by these, if you've made friends who are also in these lives, then please click the share button and let all your friends know.
Yes. You guys, we want to pay it forward to any of you guys who are helping us to grow as well. So by clicking the share button, by showing us love, you know, we give free coaching calls because we really want to reward you and we want to help you to really help your community and your people. So you know what to do. Just click the share button, do your thing. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Tomorrow we're going to talk about supplements. So we'll see you there.